Cyanide is a rapidly acting, potentially deadly chemical that can exist in various forms. Cyanide is released from natural substances in some foods and in certain plants such as cassava, lima beans and almonds. People should not eat cassava raw because it contains naturally occurring forms of cyanide, which are toxic to ingest. Soaking and cooking cassava makes these compounds harmless. Eating raw or incorrectly prepared cassava can lead to severe side effects. Due to cassava's cyanide content, people should ensure the cassava comes from a trustworthy supplier. They should also take the following steps when cooking. Peel the cassava root. Slice or cut it into small pieces. Soak them in water. Boil them until tender and very well cooked. Discard any cooking water. Baking, frying, or boiling may be appropriate. However, people should follow the instructions on the packaging. While there is a certain amount of cyanide present in the almonds that are widely available at stores around the world, there is not enough cyanide to be dangerous. The almonds you know and love are sweet almonds, and contain a trace amount of this potentially lethal poison. The amygdalin and cyanide can be removed from the nuts by crushing, soaking and washing in water, leaving pure benzaldehyde, also known as oil of bitter almonds. That's what is used in almond flavorings, even though it is toxic in large amounts. You'd have to drink several hundred bottles of almond extract to get a lethal dose. Lima beans or butter beans contain linamarin, a cyanogenic glycoside. When the plant is damaged, chewing, or at early stages of processing, crushing, stirring, etc., cyanide can be released, believed to provide a protective and evolutionary advantage to the plant. Given the relatively low cyanide level in U.S. lima beans and the likely lower concentration in fresh beans, boiling or steaming beans for 5 to 10 minutes would cause a reduction in the amount of cyanide, as compared to eating fresh lima/butter beans out of the garden. You're highly unlikely to manage to eat enough apple seeds to poison yourself, so you can rest easy if you occasionally swallow one. Apples contain a compound called amygdalin in their seeds, which is a cyanide and sugar-based molecule. If the seed is chewed or otherwise broken, human or animal enzymes come into contact with the amygdalin and effectively cut off the sugar part of the molecule. The remainder can then decompose to produce the poisonous gas hydrogen cyanide. Apricot kernels have an active enzyme which is known as amygdalin, also known as vitamin B17, as it is a nitriliside and its structure resembles that of B complex, therefore it is conveniently named as vitamin B17 to label and market it as a healthy substance. It is found in around 1,200 edible plants in the nature. The concentrated form of amygdalin is known as laetrile, which is obtained by extracting it from the kernels. Amygdalin has two components including cyanide and benzaldehyde. As you consume the apricot kernel, this enzyme is converted into cyanide, which is poisonous and can lead to some serious harm. Peach pits do contain cyanide, but it's in a form known as amygdalin. Amygdalin can be broken down by enzymes in the intestine to produce cyanide. How much cyanide does an apricot, peach, or cherry kernel contain? A typical apricot kernel weighs about 0.6 grams, and studies have shown that on average one kernel contains 1.8 milligrams of cyanide, 3 milligrams per g, but it can vary depending on the species, growing conditions, etc. Here are the HCN ranges. Approximate HCN content per gram. Apricot 0.05 to 4 milligrams per g. Peach 0.4 to 2.6 milligrams per g. Apple 0.6 milligrams per g. So if you have a case of the suicidal munchies, 30 apricot kernels will be the starting point to get you looking down the tunnel towards the light. 30 kernels probably won't kill you, but you'll be in a very bad state where you'll most likely be vomiting and hyperventilate with abdominal pains as you slowly suffocate, which will cause you a great deal of anxiety. Cyanide toxicity is experienced by humans at doses of around 0.5 to 3.5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Symptoms of cyanide poisoning include stomach cramps, headache, nausea and vomiting, and can culminate in cardiac arrest, respiratory failure, coma and death. A fatal dose for humans can be as low as 1.5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight.